Hey guys, and Selamat Hari Raya to everybody who's watching this. We are
Mm-mm.
actually at home, not celebrating
Mm-mm.
Raya because hey, just gotta stay home, stay safe. But to everyone who's celebrating it, Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir Batin. Today we have a very exciting episode for Small Talk Big Ideas. We've got our good friend with us, Renyi, one of the co-founders of myBurgerLab. And we've got Menghan and myself as well. Today, oh my goodness, Renyi, how have you been?
Stressful, but for the most part, still alive. I think that's always a good thing.
Yes,
Right.
that's
The
perfect.
stress keeps us alive. The stress keeps us alive.
Oh, at least you feel alive, right?
Yeah.
How long more, I'm not too sure, but we'll keep hustling.
Oh,
What
Oh
about
my
you guys?
goodness. We are surviving. I think that's
Mm-mm.
that's all we can ask for actually really right now.
It's been an interesting time, no doubt. I think we've been pretty much in contact with Renyi the whole time this CMCO has been going on. And it's just very interesting to just see what's going on on your side, Renyi. Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of F&Bs kind of just gave up and went belly up and like just take me now, the kind of thing, right?
Sorry, guys, that's not fair to say. Unfortunately,
I mean, you don't. That's basically your personality. It's not fair to say, but a lot of F&Bs kind of just took it as it is because they're like, oh crap, I guess, it is what it is. But you belong to a very positive circle of F&B owners. The best way I can describe it is your fighting spirit is very higher. So you guys really went all out and revolutionized what you can do with your company, your products, your F&B, basically how people approach restaurants in a time where you're not physically allowed to approach restaurants. How has your experience so far? I mean, this is maybe just a warm-up. How has it been this past 3 months?
I think what we have learned, if anything, is that we are a lot more tougher than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
And not just ourselves, as in the boss or the owner, but the team as well.
Right.
We definitely see ourselves as crisis. I wouldn't say crisis proof, but just more. Okay. For lack of better description, we are cockroaches, right? Throw an A bomb at us. And that's the best thing that came out of this crisis.
Right.
We know that we can push the team. We know the team can be pushed. And in fact, due to that, we're doing a little bit better than most people.
Right. So for everyone who's tuning in and has no idea what in the world are we actually talking about, Renyi, what is your one-liner elevator introduction about? Okay, let's not do that. I mean, tell us about you and what you do.
All right, so my name is Renyi. I'm one of the co-founders of myBurgerLab. I've been doing this for the last 8 years. My study or my education is in engineering. I graduated with a degree in engineering, mechanical engineering to be exact, from University of Nottingham. Never practiced. Did my parents very proud. Once I graduated, I said, hey, I want to flip burgers. We're happy with that for sure. But thankfully, I had good partners that came along for the ride. And we've been doing what we've been doing for the last 8 years. So what is myBurgerLab? I think in the early stages, we're known for, the black burger guys or the charcoal burger guys. And I'm sorry if we inspired a host of other charcoal inspired products like, I don't know, toothpaste, pillows, whatever else you can think of. I think right after we did that, we saw a lot more of that. We don't know if we triggered it, but it was a thing to be, right? So right now, I think we are, and in the 8-year journey, so first 2 years known as the charcoal guys, I think in between, we are known as the creative burger guys. People see us as, they come up with all these weird flavors, what sambal, cheese, nasi lemak and whatnot. And I think in the last 2 years, we are slowly to more acknowledged as a education platform where young people want to grow with us. They want to work with us to develop their soft skills, their essential skills, leadership skills. So it's interesting to see the evolution of a business from something of wanting to serve good burgers, but be able to serve beyond just food. And I'm very proud of that.
I mean, we've been very fortunate to see you guys become what you guys are. I mean, even from day one, I think you guys definitely stood out when it came to how you treat customers, how you treat your own, you made your restaurant feel like a place that people want to go to and hang out, which is very rare because most of the time people just focus on the food, right? And like, okay, this is the best burger in town, you're only going to get this here. But I think there was this general vibe of making noise online, being very public with your customers, reviews and thoughts. And there was just a very solid online presence that started, I guess the word would be snowballing toward what people see BurgerLab to today. I think we've had a talk about this before, so that culture is a very big deal when it came to BurgerLab. And we're not even talking about what customers think about you guys, right? Your internal culture.
Yeah.
You have a very specific term to call the people working in the restaurant. What is this term?
The geeks. So now, if I may just if I may just continue from where you left off.
Sure.
I learned about good culture from a brand that you guys are very familiar with. It's a very famous American coffee brand. You want to take a stab at it?
Starbucks.
Starbucks. All right. So I worked. That was my first F&B experience. I loved working at Starbucks. The first thing that they made me feel welcome was they told me that I am a partner of the business. Right. So every single Starbucks employee is called partner. And I asked, why is it a partner, right? Do I get extra money? They say, oh, well, in the States, there is the system where it allows for staff to have certain shares. If they work long enough, they are able to buy in the shares, or if the store earns money, it gets split among the team. So I love the idea, but of course, that's American. In Malaysia, under Berjaya, it was definitely not something that they practice.
Yeah.
But again, despite all that, they have very strong culture that was ingrained in us to watch one another, to take care of one another, to take care of our customers. And even when you go abroad, so when I went to the States, I went to Singapore, and when you go into a Starbucks and you say, hey, I'm a Starbucks partner, the way they treat you is different, right? So that made me feel like there was a greater community beyond just one store. And by the time I opened up BurgerLab, I made sure that that was something that we wanted to do. So I didn't want to choose the same word as Starbucks, which is partners. And I felt it was too corporate as well. And we were BurgerLab, and who hangs out in the labs, right? So it was either nerds or geeks. And we thought that culture was something that needed a little bit more love. And we said, no, just call ourselves geeks. What are geeks? Geeks are people who are obsessed about a certain thing, become really good at it, right? And very passionate at it. And we are BurgerLab geeks. We love our burgers, and we become obsessed about making, the best possible burger experience for people. That's how I
love that, man. And there's, I think, even in the journey of what you guys have been doing, there's been so much conversations between us and Renyi about running, sort of like, building a team and getting a team to get behind what you're doing, and I think for the past 8 years, you guys have grown from one store to two store to multiple stores around KL now, overseas, there's 6, right? And the team, I think what's great about it is, I know you guys have very specific set of cultures. Like, you guys play frisbee, I know you guys play games together, there's a lot of team bonding, right? What has it been like? And I think, so aside from the whole sort of like culture of work and team, what we want to talk about today is we want to highlight and talk about the struggles that people don't see. And something that we, I guess, as business owners, we don't show as much as well. So I think things like, the corona pandemic and stuff like that, that's very obvious to the public that of every industry is suffering, right? But if we deep dive 2 steps deeper into that, what does that look like on a business front? What does that look like on a team front? Because, as I was just setting the stage for it, you have a team that is consisting of your managers who are in certain places, but then there's also staff that come in and go out very quickly because, they're either part-timers or interns, stuff like that. What has this past 8 years, I mean, you don't have to answer it all at one go, but if you wanted to pick out certain sections of this, in this 8 years, what has been one of the biggest, I don't want to say struggles, because I think struggles it's a big word, but okay, what are some of the struggles when it comes to
first one off the head?
I think first thing that we had to get over in the very early stages is to understand that the business of F&B is a people business, or at least we want to see it that way. There are people who see F&B business as a transaction business, meaning that I don't sell food, I sell the business. So you have the franchises, people who develop one bubble tea store and then sell it to 100 people, But we've always seen ourselves as food people. And as food people, we have to understand that the food does not magically appear on the table. The food requires people to cook it. And for those that have cooked at home, you know that if on a day that you don't care, you chin chai, right? Your food is going to be chin chai also lah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On the day that you're super gung ho, you're like, oh, I'm going to, prepare this, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to marinate it for 12 hours. The food comes out with a lot more love, right? So we realized that it is a people business. Without the people, you can't make great food. So we need to put a lot of effort into training people. Now, this is one of those scenarios where I'm still not married yet. I don't have kids, right? But I think I understand how parents feel, whereby you put in a lot of effort for other people without having to ask for anything back. And although parents do have expectations, but the mentality should be there is no expectation, because when you run a business and you put in so much effort training people and whatnot, the reality is they will leave at one point in time. Yeah. You can't expect everyone to go with you, until the end, 20, 30 years down the road, right? Everyone have their own dreams. Everyone have their own visions to chase for. So that's where sometimes there's a bit of a struggle. You put in effort, but people leave, right? That's the first mental struggle as a boss, as a owner, as a founder, that we have to realize is that no matter what, no matter how many times I've been hurt, no many times, because there are people who leave us and say like, oh, BurgerLab is a shitty company. There are, right? There are people who love it, but
no, that's impossible that everyone is going to leave like with a smile on their face. Yeah.
Right. And there are those that you put in a lot of effort in them, you trust them and whatnot, and they leave, right? But how do you find the strength? How do you find the capacity to say, hey, I put in 3 years into this guy and he left angrily because of he feeling that we didn't do much for him or whatever else the reason is. How do you find the strength to continue on and say, hey, I want to train somebody else? Right? And that was the thing. In the end, we saw ourselves as, you know what? As long as he or she leaves the company a better person, we've done our job to the from the day he enters or she enters and to the day that he or she leaves, and you can see growth in that. I've done my job. I find the next person to train. Right, and why I want to do that is because the business requires people like that. The business requires people who are passionate, who cares about their food, to come in and work and create the experience for the customers. So, biggest struggle is getting over ourselves to think that every single one of our employees will stay with us forever. And if even your most trusted left-hand man leaves or disappoint you, right, you still have to find the strength to say, hey, I will give him another chance, or I'll give another person another chance. Because you see so many businesses, they get jaded. Every new comer that they come in, they treat them like shit. They go like, yeah, you're probably gonna leave anyway. You just come and go lah. I don't care lah. And then that's where I feel the products and the service might not go back to where it was before. So it all comes down from us, right, top to bottom. How we treat our staff, how they're gonna treat their product, and how they're gonna treat the service. So that's the biggest struggle. And I think we only realized that 3 years in, because it was one point where we were really struggling, saying, you know what, do we really want to put so much effort into training people? Do we really want
I think I remember you talking about this, because the bulk of your manpower was you wanted to get very enthusiastic geeks, right? And it's a no-brainer. Enthusiasm runs with the youth. And I think for the longest time, it is the smiling, chirpy college students that are always the geeks, right? That you give them the experience to work, you give them the experience like either serving the floor or in the kitchen. And the big, I think we realized that very, very fast getting into this business as well. Interns leave really quick, especially those who are still studying. There's no legacy plan. There is no like long-term contract coming in and going out. It's almost as if like I'm training you up to say goodbye to you. And I remember you talking about this at length for a while, because this was a very big issue. Like if you had to continually, and we only go through like 4 or 5 people at a time, but I think you go through, how many people have like went in and out of your doors?
In the last 8 years, total of 6 stores, I think we can safely say it's close to 3,000 people that have gone in.
Oh my goodness.
But again,
It's next
out of
level.
1,000, I dare say, let's be conservative here. More than 50% of them are still love the brand, and when we're in trouble, they would say, hey, you can see who shares our post, right? These people
Yeah.
for years are there to say, hey, I've worked with this business before. It's a great business. We should support them and whatnot. And these are true fan bases. People who have dined at our place, love our place. Only they come to work for us, and then when they leave, they love the place even more. And the legacy that is left is not just what we left in them, but also what they carry on moving forward as well.
So let's talk about culture in a very Asian society. I think businesses are very I think even when I stepped into some of my first part-time jobs when I was in college, don't talk about SMEs lah, right? Let's just talk about businesses in general. I think the Asian culture of doing work is, this is work, don't mess around, show up on time, you come here to do your job and you go home. Don't risk me, don't risk my business. If you do anything stupid, I will fire you. So, and some of these guys, most of the time, these bigger companies have the luxury of huge resources and everything, where I think a single worker risks the business less. How did you manage, okay, let's not say how did you manage that. You obviously managed it. What was the efforts that I guess you consistently had to push as a person and as a boss to develop this very, I would say, a very counter culture of an SME in this region? Because let's just put it out there, okay? We get the experience as well. We get the feedback as well, because we are very, I would say we are not traditional at all, right? So we came from a background where we had no connection to the film industry. And maybe that was our forte, because we don't know how people treat each other in the film industry. But from what we can at least know, that it is a very different culture when these few new brands, these F&B brands especially, we saw a lot of you guys from, I call it the red beanbag generation, right? For those listening, this is a very golden point in the food industry in Malaysia, where a lot of amazing pioneers came out of this circle. What do you have to do? What do you feel you have to do to create such a counterculture in a very hierarchical, Asian strict society?
Profit first sort of industry.
Profit first, person later.
Yeah.
I think what you mentioned just now that I was nodding to and pointing at you at was the fact that we were outsiders to the industry. We didn't know what was the norm, and I think that dictated how we went about building the business. We built it from what we believe was right. We built it not from what was taught to us. I don't know if you know about this, and I hope it's not true anymore, but my understanding of the F&B industry for the most part is there's a lot of hazing when you work in the hotel. In the hotel restaurant, when you graduate, you are commie, and then you basically it's the bitch of the kitchen lah. Let's just put it that way. I don't know. But you're right. You're everyone's bitch, right? So, and you gotta work very hard. You gotta work very long before you get somewhere, right?
Right.
Most of the time, you get abuse. In a sense, verbal abuse, right? Whereby you don't do something, you're a donkey, you're stupid, you're an idiot. Look, watch Gordon Ramsay, and you know what I'm talking about. And he practices is not uncommon. I've seen it before, right? I've seen it being reported to me. I've seen it firsthand as well when I was working in the States. So this culture that F&B was, because when someone who has been through that whole process, 20 years later, he's a head chef, he's going to be like, I got to toughen up my team. That's how I was brought up, right? Just like how, again, I'm going to go back to the whole, if you are a father, if a lot of people, the way they bring up their children, they do it the way they were brought up.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a certain generation, and I think we are this generation where we say, hey, we are a little bit, I wouldn't say we are more educated. We definitely have access to more information. We have access to how other people teach their children or perform better, or how to say, introduce better work culture. And hey, that's something that I would like to have been taught. That's something that I would like to have been practiced upon me. Now, that has gone and passed. What can I do now in my position to embrace those new values and cultures that I see in other people through what I see on YouTube or through what I read on the internet? So for us, going into the business, I looked at Google. I looked at places like Shake Shack, right? And they talk a lot about culture. Now, I've never worked in a place in Malaysia where culture was a everyday language, right? You'd be lucky to hear about it if there's a crisis, right? But for the most part, it's not something that they talk about every day. So this 8 years back, and when we started the business, we go like, hey, we really like the American culture, whereby when I was working, they make you feel at home. They make you feel like a part of something, right? Same as what I experienced in Starbucks. So how do we do that? How do we make sure that people want to believe in that culture? So the first thing is ownership. You need to get the team to feel like they own the business to some extent. And that's why we call it myBurgerLab, because the word my is that for anyone that says it, including staff, including customer, when they say it, it's a part of them. I work at myBurgerLab. I am going to eat at myBurgerLab today. It is yours. Now, to embrace that fully is not just saying it, but of course, giving them the voice. Every end of the night, and this is in the first 6 months when we first started, every end of the night, we'll sit down and we'll hash out every single problem.
Wow.
And it's not just me, the boss, saying, hey, guys, how come you're not doing that? How come you're not doing that? Everyone will have a turn. We'll get to say, hey, I think that this can be improved. And if we go like, oh, that's a good idea, we implement it immediately. And that's how, over a period of time, myBurgerLab became a point for people to feel like they can change the business, or they can shape the business as it grows forward. And the business has to evolve, has to reshape itself. And then that's one of the benefits that we had working with so many young people. So to build the culture, to build the value, all we needed to do was to put it in the hands of the people that are in control of it. We like to think that we are the boss, we drive the car, but yes, we are driving the car, but without the little cogs, the little screws, the little, engine that's running, which is the team, there's no direction to drive to. So once you realize that, hey, the team should have a say in the business, they should be gearing towards the direction of for the success of the business and for their own success. And that's where we find that whatever we put in as values, they adopt, because they feel like, hey, this is not just about me, this is about everyone. And this is something that everyone adopts together. So when we put out a new value, a lot of times it's not just me saying, hey, this is one thing that we want to follow. We'll put it out there and say, how do you guys feel about this? Is this something that we want to adapt as a new norm, as something that we believe represents who we are? And then, of course, for the most part, everyone will say, okay, that's a good value. Let's put that into our culture book. And that's how value becomes culture. Culture means nothing if there's no value behind it, right? And value doesn't become culture if you don't practice the value over a period of time. I've seen a lot of companies, they say, hey, here's my culture, read it, and that's it. But there's no.
Yeah.
So that's what
I love the point that you made about how there is I think for a lot of business owners today, even existing ones and even up and coming ones, there is the opportunity to redefine what it means to run a business, right? About how you can decide to be you can decide to be the parents of the past, or parents of the future. And I like how that you've broke the mold, and I think it's almost strategic. And it's not almost, it is very strategic that the way that you are working with the young people resonates very quickly and very strongly with the nature of burgers, right? Like, I think burgers to a lot of people is something that's new. It's still something that's like young people food. And it's something that people gravitate towards. And I think Ming Han mentioned earlier, every time we go to myBurgerLab, we are always greeted with smiles. We're always greeted with, hi, how can I help you? Let me help you get a table. How many people? So there's so much that happens that it doesn't seem like that this guy is here with a checkboard with a set list of questions trying to get your money, right? It's personalized. It's human, right? And I think there's just something that really resonates with young people when they find a purpose and something that they believe in as well, to get behind and push.
Actually, a funnel system for us to get to that as well. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but as I mentioned, we have 10 values right now. And when we hire someone, we try to, when we are doing the interview, we try to see if they naturally believe in or emulate any of those values. And it doesn't have to be all 10, as long as it's like around 5, right? And they go like, hey, you know, if in a situation like this, what would you do, right? And from there, we can kind of say, hey, this guy has this kind of value. And from there, we can say, okay, if we bring him in, he'll most likely fit in. If you have a guy that comes in and say, hey, what do you think about customers asking for extra sauce? And then his answer is, oh, no, they're just cheapskate. We should charge for every single thing. All right, let's say, for example. And then you ask another question. And every single question, is just an X against each value that we have. Obviously, we're not going to bring that person in and say, hey, I'm going to try to change this person to fit. Right? You're not going to find a girlfriend or boyfriend just so that you can mold him or her into something that you want to be. But you want to find someone, and you can't find someone who's exactly perfect and aligned with everything you believe in. But 50% I think is a good place to start with. And then you align from there.
Yeah. I think we want to quickly draw attention to something that has happened recently. So, I mean, despite the whole, Corona situation, which I'm assuming also has affected sales for you guys. I think we don't need to deep dive into that one. I think everyone feels it across the board, right? But something you guys did very recently, on I think just this past week, actually on the 19th of May, you guys extended and offered an internship opportunity, or sort of like continuation opportunity for those who were doing their internships at hotels and hospitality culinary sort of courses, right? But you committed to I mean, of course, there's T and C. People have to apply and go through the interview process. But technically, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to fork out a amount of money to pay these interns to continue. And because, you could have just saved it to continue with your other staff that you already have, right? But what was it that that came across in your mind when you decided to, let's put out the poster for this. Let's put this out. Let's give these guys a shot. Of continuing or having the opportunity to finish up what they need to do at the risk and cost of your own revenue and operating?
Well, it's not really at a risk. I'll be honest with you. We are looking to hire, and there are a lot of students right now within our part-time group that are also leaving. So for us to fill up the gaps with interns is the right thing to do, and it's a smart thing to do. However, how it came about was because we keep our ears on the ground. So we do have a few staff that work part-time with us, and then they'll stop and they'll do their internship. All right. And during the internship, sometimes because they miss working with us, they will work once a week. So I noticed that one of our staff has been doing that, and I go like, okay, great. And just 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, I saw that she appeared on the schedule 6 days a week. And I go, hey, what happened? I thought she was doing internship. Because it was something that we were keeping an eye on because she was definitely performing, right? And I asked my HR manager, actually what happened was that she was working at this hotel. She got laid off because the hotel, obviously had no business, and interns were laid off. So she asked if she could finish her internship here. And I said, yeah, of course. I mean, my HR said, yeah, of course. But of course, in my head, I was like, oh, great. My team already did that before I even said anything. And I said, hey, wait a minute. If she's in that position, I'm quite sure there are a lot of people who are in that position too. So what can we do? So it was just a simple extension of saying, hey, anyone out there that got their internship cut short because of the current situation and would like to finish graduation because they're just short of that 1 month or 2 months of internship, we're happy to do so. Again, we've transitioned over the years to see ourselves as a platform to give young people a chance to develop skills, to grow, and in this case, to have a goal at, finishing up their education so that they can start their life.
So let's ask a very real deal question about that. I think we've also, to our best, tried to do give people opportunities to chase their dreams, to try something out, to chase their passion. How have you taken it, such a very ideal, and run a proper, profitable working business? How does that work? Because most of the time you will see, right, that I think this is a very real thing for us as well. Our problem was always like, how do you take in these hopefuls with no skills, with all the passion in the world, and not pay someone to live out their dreams, just to live out their dreams, you know? How do you, and you've done it at 3,000 people, right? 3,000 people in and out. How do you make such an ideal thing potentially, what's the word? I don't want to use the word profitable, but how do you make it realistic?
I think first thing first, there's an assumption that we are very profitable.
Yeah, so exactly. So all the trappings that come with that, yeah.
Yeah, we are profitable, but not as lucrative as most people think. I think the first thing that we need to admit is that BurgerLab commits itself to that cause in the first place. Right? But of course, at the end of the day, I will protect my full-timers, my career guys first. That will be the first line of defense. Like I said, not first line, the first guys that I will defend. But whenever we can, we will always offer opportunity. So in that scenario, BurgerLab, for the longest time, I don't know if you guys realize or not, is 90% part-time. Right? So we are born in that situation. So we are very, very used to it. So in this scenario, it was really not difficult for us to extend the help. Now, I'm not saying that if there is 50 applicants, I'm going to take in all 50. Right? Okay. As you said before, we're going to do due diligence. We're going to interview them. If they are the right fit, then only we bring them in. Because there's no point bringing someone else in who might not believe in our culture or values, and then destroy everything else, destroy everything that we believed in. It's a win-win. I wouldn't dare say I'm a charity and say that, hey, I'm here, Jesus Christ, trying to save everyone. No, right? I'm just saying, hey, if there are people who are in that situation, and if we interview them and they seem like they deserve our help, yes, please come in and join the business, and let's help you. Right? Yeah. So I don't want to put myself out there and sound as if we are such we're such great people, right? We try our best, but we can't save everyone. So far to date, we actually have 2 schools that actually reached out to us, and touch point on that, and we will say, and right now we already filled up those vacancies. In fact, we had about 25 applicants. We didn't take everyone. We're still in the process of vetting them through, but we're trying our best. Yeah. I don't have an answer right now in regards to why we do what we do. All I know is that if people out there that needs help, and I know that is within our capacity to help, we will try.
Right. Yeah. Right. I think just want to go back to what you said about the sort of even the hiring process, right? And how you guys have 10 values and stuff like that. I know of businesses that look at running a team as results oriented. So I mean, of course, there's your results, and then there's the people oriented sort of businesses and leaders and stuff like that. But I think more oftentimes than not, especially when it boils down to the nature of your business, the people are actually running the business as much as a boss is, right? And if they don't feel a sense of belonging or ownership, then the work and effort that they put in is very, very reflective as well. And I know because of that, some businesses don't put in as much effort and maybe care into the hiring process, especially when it comes to things like interns and part-timers, because I mean, maybe to them, I will only care about the managerial positions that are being filled. So that's because I know they're being paid more money. What are your thoughts on that one when it comes to, I mean, you've mentioned quite a bit how important that is, but for a business that runs with like you said, 90% on part-timers, how important is it for other businesses, either existing or even starting up? How important is it for them to take the time to zero in on this segment of the operations to really just like pay attention to each and every aspect of it?
So this is a bit tricky because I can't really advise this for every business out there to do the way we do it. BurgerLab started off very lucky that when we first started, we got a bunch of friends who are young, who are fresh from uni as well, working with us. And that in itself attracted more people of that same age group to work with us. And we basically snowballed it and find a way to make it work over a long period of time. And over the years, I do have a lot of business owners that come to me and say, hey, how do you guys attract all these young people that are so eager to work, so friendly and whatnot? I don't have an answer. All I did was take what was given to us at the start, which we produced accidentally, and continue to snowball it. All I knew was that I wanted to create a workplace that people felt safe to work in, felt like they were protected, they were taken care of, right? And at the same time, when that happens, they would recommend their friends, they'll recommend their family members, their brothers, sisters to come and work with us. And you will see a generation of brothers and sisters will go through the BurgerLab ecosystem. So what I'm trying to say here is that, number one, you need to find what works for you so that your team wants to tell other people to come and work. And then when you are able to have that sexy vibe whereby people say, hey, I want to work with this place because there's just something about it, there's an X factor.
Yeah.
As a business owner, I have choices.
Yeah.
So you need to be in a position where you have 10 applicants, you only need 5. So you can have your pick of the list.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, F&B businesses particularly is not a very sexy business, especially if you start new. No one's going to know who you are and they don't want to work for you, right? You want to be working for Starbucks, McDonald's, or BurgerLab, or Akau Burger, right? So unfortunately, it's going to be Starbucks first, McDonald's second maybe, and then BurgerLab, and then Akau Burger, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be in Akau Burger territory. So, but I also know when you do F&B, sometimes you have no choice. You need staff. If Akau comes, you're going to hire Akau.
Yeah.
No offense to Akau out there.
Yeah.
Right?
No offense to all the accounts.
But what I'm trying to say here is a supply and demand thing. You need to generate, or you need to build your brand up to a certain level where people will say, hey, this guy or this brand I want to work with. And then you have 10 applicants and you can have your pick of the litter. I'm quite sure you guys have gone through that. Right? You guys are a sexy brand, right? People want to work with you guys. Core Studios.
I'm not sure. We haven't checked for a really long time. I really hope.
I think we are we're very blessed to have that. Yeah.
And you have your pick of the litter. And from there, you go like, hey, I have 10 applicants. I pick the best 5 that I can. And from there, you can continue snowballing the effect that, hey, my core team is very creative, very smart, very hardworking, and so on. And then this same group of people will inspire more of their kind to come and apply and join. So that's the tricky part. And we have gone through a dark ages before, whereby when the shine on BurgerLab is not as polished anymore, like 2-3 years into the business, a bit of an old business already, and we don't see as many applicants. And how do we, buff it up or polish it up so that it becomes a sexy brand again? It took time, but it came to a point where at one point we were so understaffed, we really took anyone. But that was wasn't under my directive. It was much later on that I found out that the team wasn't practicing certain interviewing steps that we require of them. They just say, you know what, I am short-staffed, I don't care, you just come in, start tomorrow. But we started seeing the decline of the culture. We started seeing the erosion of that camaraderie. And we had to put a halt to it and say, look, anyone that doesn't fulfill the criteria, we will not hire. Anyone that is already in here that continues to not fulfill those criteria, we'll give them 3 warnings, and if they fail that, we have to let them go. Because more than anything else, right, the brand is a people brand. And it's not people, it's people with the same values, the right values to come together.
So I think even more important, if it's such a people brand, whoever is doing the hiring holds such a pivotal, significant role in the company.
Yes.
Like they literally are giving you the raw material to work with. And if like choosing fresh ingredients or not, these are people that are coming in, right? That's all you have to cook with for like the next 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever run into problems with that? Like what would be like maybe just to like top off this whole section of that, maybe like a good tip to choosing like even the smallest role? Because I'm just going to put it there. I don't undermine any role in the team. Like I don't feel like anyone can be like, oh, you're just doing this, it's okay, just come in, I think I really have seen the impact of it ever since we have this new hire in our team. Her name is Melody, and she's really hired to just look at people who are coming in, regardless of full-time or part-time or internship. And I've seen such a big difference when it comes to something like that. So maybe what is like one thing for you when it comes to like that entrance point into the geeks?
You want to look for someone who is teachable, someone who is eager to learn. That's it. I don't care if you have, I wouldn't say you have bad attitude, but if no one's perfect, everyone will have our own characteristic flaw, right? But the biggest characteristic flaw is the inability to admit that you're wrong, and that you when I say you are wrong, inability to admit you're wrong is that when you say, hey, this way is not the right way, but the person just refuses to see it, it's not teachable anymore. So you want who is teachable. And someone who is teachable has to have the humility to say, hey, I don't know this, or I might be wrong. You know, let's talk about this, or let's find a way to go about doing this. So to me, teachability, and you need to design your own questions or your own simulation during the interview process to find out if the person is someone that has too high of an ego that, you know, no matter what you or the boss tells him, he or she refuses to you know, fall in line.
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen people like that, where no matter what, they think they are better than you, right? And there's just no backing off, and that becomes very difficult. And I'm not saying we know the best. We don't. We absolutely don't. But there must be room for back and forth. But if you're so arrogant to say that, hey, you know what, I'm right, I don't care what you say, I'm right, and then it's just difficult.
Yeah. I think let's move on just from culture just for the last few minutes of our session. I think we've talked at great length about how it's so important to have people in the business, because you know the appeal of a business is really it's the heart of it. It's all the people, right? But also at the same time, when things are so attractive on the storefront, right? When people see BurgerLab, they're like, "Oh, I want to work there. The people are great. The bosses are paying attention to me and stuff like that." What are, I mean, there's going to be a buttload here, but let's just maybe pick out one or two. What are some of the things that people don't see, dude? That you have to, you and the upper team have to really just grit your teeth and bite down on sorting things out, because hiring people is one end of the spectrum, but the whole thing about running a business in a time like this, you know, in general, so people see F&B. So I mean, if we wind the clocks back a little bit, and it's still happening right now, you look at Uptown, right? You look at SS15, bubble teas, cafes. Everyone wants to jump into this F&B business, because why? In their mind, they want to sit down like Madam Kwan outside of their store. They just want to sit down in their fancy clothes, take Instagram pictures, and say, "I own a cafe. I can pour latte art," right? So like everyone wants to run a business, and I've seen so many cafes come up and close down in the span of like 6 months to a year, because they go in with the romanticized idea that running an F&B is noble, it's beautiful, it's everything I want it to be. 8 years now down the road with a team that's as strong as what you have now, 6 branches, and so many people who have come and tasted your food across the world, right? What are some of the more intricate struggles that you guys have and face on a daily basis that people don't really know about? I mean, there's going to be a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be, I think we can do a multiple series episode about this one, but off the top of your head, like, what are one or two that really is on your heart right now that you feel that business owners should pay attention to as well?
Well, that's a very good question, and unfortunately, I really can't. While you're talking, I'm trying to, you know, formalize something. I realized that for the last 5-6 weeks since MCO, every day has been about putting out fires. And while you're putting out fires, you're trying to build a wooden shed at the same time, right? I think that makes sense. Your original house is burning down, and you're gonna have to put out the fire, and then you have to build a wooden shed so that, you know, you have something to look forward to. Yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I think this conversation would be very different if this was pre-COVID. Now, moving forward, honestly, a lot of our struggle is the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask me as a business person, and don't, you know, put me on the cross for this, I prefer the MCO period. Why? Because I knew what I had to work with. I knew people couldn't travel between what time to what time. I knew I couldn't, I knew I had to open between 8 to 8 and so on and so forth. It was like a game, and you knew your rules, your boundaries. You could work. That's why you saw developing new ideas, open up breakfast, this and that, right? You can't, because one of it was during MCO phase 2, we had to close by 8 o'clock. Yeah. Which means that we lost out 2 hours of sales. And that, okay, fine. Instead of opening at 11, I open at 9 o'clock. I serve breakfast. So that was one of the results. Now,
it's one of the best things you've ever done so far, hands down.
So now, fast forward to today or 2 weeks ago when MCO is introduced, it's a big question mark, right? It's suddenly a free world, right? You can go anywhere you want, you can do whatever you want, right? But the controlling factors are actually customer sentiments.
Right.
And that is very hard to pin down, because the customer sentiment on the first week of CMCO is very different from the customer sentiment today.
Right.
Right? You will realize that today, people are happy to go to IKEA, want a Tama, walk around, no problem. But
Right.
2 weeks ago, you say you want to do that, people say, hey, siao, the government is opening up too early.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The thing about businesses is every single day that we don't make money, we're losing money.
Yeah.
There's 2 working days to recuperate the loss of 1 day. And this varies for different businesses. So if the thing is, like right now, to know if we are controlling the virus or not, and whether there's going to be a second outbreak, which everyone talks about, right? We need 2 weeks to go by to see whether the chart goes up or not, right? In the 2 weeks waiting, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just the uncertainty. Will the future of F&B be forever 2 meters apart per table, which is the current rule? Will it be for the next 6 months? Will it be for the next 1 year? We don't know, because until a medicine is found, that might still be the case. And a lot of businesses, I can tell you, cafes, restaurants cannot survive.
Yeah.
We pay per dollar per square feet to get a certain result. You expect 100 to come in. Right now, for example, my Town outlet, I can sit 100 people. But because of this new sitting space, I have 50 chairs only. Now, those 50 chairs are not going to be sitting 50 asses. All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If people come in, there's going to be groups of 2, groups of 1, groups of 3, and I'm 50% of 50%.
Yeah.
And moving forward, that's going to be very difficult to maintain that business. So one of the few things that we worry about every day as business owner is there a tomorrow? What is the cash flow like? Because it's not, a lot of people think, oh, today you earn 5,000 ringgit. Okay, then you know whether it's good business or not good business. But unfortunately, my salary is a whole month. My rent is a whole month. So I need to see every day as we go. And sometimes by the end of the month, then you realize, shit, I am losing money. So money is the number one thing, because money allows us to continue the business or not. As much as I have the best passion, I have the best burger, if there's no money, there's no. Even in New York, David Chang, I'm not too sure if you're familiar with this name, very familiar, very familiar chef. He closed down 2 of his Momofuku outlets. And these are Michelin star restaurants.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy. So for us right now in the post-COVID world, a lot of it is, hey, can we survive tomorrow? I don't even dare make a 3 months plan, because if I make a 3 months plan, 1 month from now, if touch wood, COVID has a second wave and then there's another CMO, then we're back to square one. Yeah. So that's a worry. That's my worry. Yeah. It's different from when 2019.
Yeah. 2019, I think it's a completely
it's a different world.
Yeah.
2019 is, we're gonna build this, we're gonna build that, we're gonna have this concept, we're gonna have that concept, we're gonna have a secondary business, this and that. There's not even a chat of that. And I think I saw this inspiring quote somewhere by Jack Ma. 2020 is not about expansion, it's not about scaling
surviving.
up.
Yeah. Just about. Yeah. I think that's crazy.
Yeah. I did really enjoy the fact that I feel it very real as well, that personally, this sounds very weird. This sounds very anti-business as well. But I love the MCO season, because suddenly for a while, the uncontrollable becomes controlled, and you have so few uncontrolled variables. Because it's almost like everything is funneled into this shape over here. Yeah, you do take away the rest of the market, but you can concentrate so nicely on like what's left. I think that was like a very, very beautiful way to put it, because I think people never see the glass half full in this season. This is more like, the glass is 80% empty, that kind of thing. But I think those who thrive on that 20% and really put all your efforts into, there was never a time before where you could say that, okay, the world is now telling you these are the circumstances that you can work in. This is exactly how you can expect your customers. This is exactly how you can expect your business hours. It was like a free for all right before this. And I feel like that's a really good way to put it. Yeah, sorry.
Another thing to take into consideration, given that, and I was in a privileged position that I didn't see until much later. I think you guys have also seen this. So it's a picture of the storm. So we are all in the same storm, but we're all in boats. Some in yachts, some in cruisers, some in little,
Sampans, yeah.
Right. And I think that's something that we all need to realize, that most of us, in fact, all of us here speaking right now, are in a position of privilege, and we have to understand that there are a lot more. We cannot, see the world through our own lenses, because we're in a position of comfort or of good luck, right?
Yeah, I think we've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we say the MCO is a good time, again, there'll be people who say, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. Maybe that's a good time to put it. Yeah, we should put a disclaimer right there. It's not a good time. It's not, okay. But for a business person, like you said, we are part of this generation that has no guidelines. We do not follow anything from the previous traditional generation. For someone who has been thrown into the 6 feet deep end of the pool, suddenly telling us there's only 2 feet of water to swim in now, it seems like a very different change to the environment. It seems like, oh, okay, 2 feet, maybe I can do this. It does not mean that the environment is any better. It just means in our head, like there is...
Someone who is 1 feet, 2 feet is still very high.
I mean, that's just so true.
Perspective. I think maybe the overall on this is just perspective. And I mean, we don't want to discount other people's situations. Yeah.
I mean, we have to understand where we're at, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think maybe just to wrap up our session for today, talking about, I mean, the thing about what Jack Ma said, I mean, I personally love Jack Ma. I love his dancing at all his company dinners. He is it's crazy when one of the world's most profitable people, right, and his empire is saying that, you know what, this year really like shift your focus from thriving to surviving. And to some people, it's like, oh yeah, a bit of pressure lifted off my shoulders in terms of like my results and all that. But that's really the reality of the situation. And because I think this is the prelude to a massive economic downturn for the rest of the world after this, right? The word and the phrase, the new normal, is being thrown around like underwear. Some people think of it as like, oh, it's just social distancing for a bit. But the new normal is really not just the distancing and the mask on covering. It's just that this gloomy feeling of like dread hanging upon us all this time, right? And honestly, moving into what's next after COVID is going to be, it's not over, right? So what's next for myBurgerLab? You guys have myBurgerLab, you have myPizzaLab, you have other stuff that's ongoing as well. What's next for you guys besides surviving?
Just a disclaimer, Boba Lab, we've already closed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not worth the effort, but it's still there. Okay, so to answer your question, I have a project that we're starting. It's called the 90%. And I think before the recording today, I mentioned, I want to send you guys pizza that is assembled fresh, and then it's sent to your house, but it's 90% done. The 10% is you putting it in the oven, baking it so that you get restaurant fresh pizza.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I realized that in the last few days, in the last few weeks, what we saw was that you have the people who cook at home. They buy raw groceries at Danku, right? Suddenly become master chef already.
Oh man, my God. That guy. Everyone's favorite YouTuber, Danku, come on.
I just want to say, he just had a beautiful episode about failing Chi Chong Fan. I personally enjoyed it, but okay. All right.
So you have that is what I call a 0%, where you do everything yourself from scratch. Okay?
Right.
Then you have your 50%, the home kits, right, which you guys also enjoyed, so you gotta do a little bit more work yourself, not much instruction, you gotta do that. Then you have the 100%, which is, hey, I just order Grab food, it delivers to your house, done deal. So I'm addressing a new market here, the 90%, meaning that you feel a sense of accomplishment cooking it. Okay, oh my God, good job, nice, hot, delicious meal, right? But I don't have to buy 20 ingredients just to make one pizza. So I believe there's a market there. And of course, people who wants to do the pizza from scratch, we will sell the flour as well. We will sell 0% as well.
Yeah. Right. Dude, I love that. Like, so what you've essentially mapped out is that 50% is for that Friday night weekend meals when you've got all the time in the world. The 100% is when you order and you are between, your work calls and wanting to take a break and chores. Then the 90% is smack on when you want to prepare early and then heat it up for later. Oh, dude, that's I love that, man. You guys just want to smack you, Renyi, crazy man.
Okay.
Dude.
I got a gift for you. And this one is actually inspired by my friend Hong. You guys know Hong, right?
Yeah.
The original Naruto. He has this thing called the Ramdon noodles from the movie Parasite.
Yes.
I will send it to you guys.
Oh man,
it's perfect. You just need to cook the noodle, pour the sauce in with the beef and whatnot, stir it around. It's the best instant noodle you've had, but you feel like you've done all the job. It's insane. It's the best 90% meal I've had so far.
Right.
So for everyone who is listening to this and just wondering why Renyi is also heavily promoting other people, he is one of the. Dude, we've had so many nights where we just sit down with Renyi and have conversations about life and just being humans on this planet, leaving our marks, right? But I think one thing I really respect, and I just want to thank you so much, is that you have this amazing spirit of hospitality that stretches beyond your four walls of your restaurant. That no matter whoever and wherever and whenever, you've always extended the gift of food. And I think that's something that even for myself, it's something that we really believe in, that this food unifies people, brings people together. And to see that you've done that across your business and with the people that are working with you is such a heartwarming thing. So honestly, thank you so much for spending your time with us on this afternoon, Renyi. And really, we just want to wish you all the best with myBurgerLab and everything that you guys are about to do. You have our 150% support all the way, bro. Like we love you, we love the food, we love the people, man.
Supporting us since day one. I really appreciate the friendship.
Good, man. All right. For everyone else who is tuning in, thank you so much for listening to this. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask Renyi for a future episode, please submit them in the comment section below. And if you enjoy this, please do hit us with a like and follow, and also share this with your friends and anyone who might benefit from this. Please stay safe. Selamat Hari Raya once again to everyone who's listening. And if you like more of our content, check us out on Blankslate, Instagram, Facebook, and our other social media platforms. Till next time, this is Ming Yu signing off with Renyi and Ming Han. Any last words, guys?
Take care. Stay safe and Selamat Hari Raya.
Love it. Thanks, guys.